Are we actually aware of what keeps on draining our battery and what charges it? Do we know how to charge it properly? Why do we watch garbage TV that does nothing but kill time? Why do we scroll endlessly on our phones? Why do we keep on seeing that friend that does nothing but complain? Why do we eat foods that completely destroy our energy? And why does it seem so hard for us to manifest all the stuff that we wish for? I'm in the middle of a 2-month period of recharging my batteries. Much needed downtime from work and most other obligations. And I've noticed how hard it is for me, or has been for me, to actually slow down and do nothing. I've been in the grips of this old paradigm of always having to be productive. And I've become very aware of the negative impact that this story, this narrative has had on my body and on my mind. And actually, I think this applies to most of us. We are not replenishing our energy sufficiently, or at least not in the most efficient ways. So I want to talk about why we're caught up in this story of productivity and how we can go about recharging our batteries on all levels so that we can actually achieve much more and with way less struggle. Our bodies and our minds need energy in order to function properly. And most of what we wish to accomplish in life requires a full tank of gas. But we're trying to get to our destination while our engines are basically running on fumes. In some ways we're running in circles and at the same time not understanding why we can't reach these goals we have. Why we can't manifest the stuff that we wish for. But everything in our lives is the result of energy moving around. Even matter is energy. So manifesting, which often is the act of bringing new matter into our lives, obviously requires energy. So we need to learn how to put the proper gas in our tanks, not just by sleeping enough or eating the right foods, but also by living our lives more intentionally, by choosing the day-to-day experiences that we know supports us the most. And this journey starts with figuring out what things drain us and what things actually fills us up. And uncovering how the lack of self-love is actually a key component in the forces that are keeping us from living our best lives. I think if you get still, you close your eyes and you feel into it, you know what your energy levels are like, now and in general. And chances are it's not looking that great. So why is it like this? Why are we draining ourselves and normalizing this life of struggle and exhaustion? Why is daily life taking its toll on most people? I believe some of the reason is this. We have this idea that being super productive is the right way to live. A form of programming that tells us that hard work and high productivity is the only path to a happy life. And this is where self-love comes in. Because unconsciously we're telling ourselves the story that being super productive is one of the big ways that we can gain value as human beings. We think that if we can accomplish a lot in the external reality, then we're good humans and thereby worthy of love. And I believe we really need this love through the approval and praise of others, because in reality we don't really love ourselves. I think that if we truly did, we wouldn't push ourselves to the brink of stress-induced collapse that seems to be the norm in this so-called modern world. I think rather we would see that we inherently carry value and that all the stuff we're fighting so hard to produce are just man-made constructions that in the greater scheme of things don't really matter at all. This has been my story anyways, to realize that I didn't really love myself and that all my external creations were me trying to find that love elsewhere, to find that love outside of myself. And it is something I see mirrored all over the Western world. And for most people, this malware of a productivity program is running very unconsciously. Another program we're running is thinking that We'll be loved if we spend all our time fixing other people's problems, leaving no time to deal with our own lives, and not noticing that this is actually depleting our own energy in the process. Again, we're seeking the praise and the approval of others. But it is a short-lived rush of hormone releases in the body, and when that's over, we start over and we chase that feeling again, not recognizing that it's like peeing our pants to stay warm. Obviously, for many people, these are not the most pressing issues that are pushing them towards this collapse. Many people might be fighting at a whole other level due to a system that is rigged against most of us in many ways. They might not have time to think much about helping others or producing stuff that people can admire because they are fighting just to stay afloat in life. They might have a minimum wage job that they hate, or large college debts, a mortgage that requires 2 jobs to pay off, and so on. And if this is your situation, everything you're trying to do probably feels like an uphill battle. You feel like you're tripping over yourself all the time and everyone seems to be in your way. Life is exhausting and maybe you don't really want any part of it. And to be honest, this is a place where most of us can end up. And when we're in this place, we stop manifesting the stuff we want and we actually start creating more of the stuff that we don't want. People around us will start to be the worst versions of themselves, mirroring back to us whatever our own wounding is. This is where life seems to be happening to us and not for us. These are all just narratives, and we need to learn to feel these narratives in our bodies, especially when we're constantly occupying our minds with all the stuff we don't want. What does it actually feel like to only operate from a space of not wanting something? My own experience is that these very disempowering narratives depletes our energy. There's a big difference between constantly chanting, "I don't want this job," and on the other hand, "I want to become financially free or secure." Try to feel that difference in your body. How does it feel? One gives you energy and one actually takes it away. So think about how you can change your narratives to focus on what you want instead of what you don't want, to the positive fact that you're moving towards something better. It makes a big difference to our bodies, and it is a big step towards getting our energy back. So, what else can we do to recharge our batteries and get out of this rut? First, we need to acknowledge the fact that we might be somehow addicted to being exhausted. Addicted to eating and drinking the foods and beverages that will absolutely destroy our energy. Addicted to the drama and gossiping that might surround us through family, friends, and especially through the media. Addicted to watching films and TV that support this narrative of life having to be hard work and a struggle until you someday magically reach the other side and all your dreams come true. Buying into this narrative is in some way the easy solution. We know ourselves in this mode of being, so there is a form of comfort there for us. While the opposite, having an excess of energy to efficiently command our reality, is new to most people. And everything new is kind of scary. And we might also actually like the story of the world being against us because it takes away the responsibility we would otherwise have to own for creating our own reality, for creating our lives. How can I possibly succeed in this world where everyone and everything is obviously working against me? Thinking like this is what makes us tend to stay the course of the life we actually don't want. What we could do instead is start to figure out what fills our cup, and just as important, what actually drains it. And this is actually a very subjective thing, so it's something you'll need to explore with a fresh perspective on everything. Start a journal and write down your day-to-day experiences and how you felt in your body during and after. During and after watching TV or meeting up with a friend or dancing in the living room. And notice the patterns that arises because they might surprise you. You do something, it makes you feel a certain way, And if the outcome isn't positive, journal on why you keep on doing it anyways. Like, why do you watch garbage TV? Why do you scroll endlessly on your phone? Why do you eat crappy foods? Why do you get drunk every weekend? What is the problem you're trying to fix? And are these solutions really the best way of fixing them? Or are they just keeping you in a perpetual feeling of life being like climbing a mountain with a bag full of bricks? And be very thorough in your observations. Don't let any old habits steer clear of analysis. And likewise, think of what actually charges you. Is it meditation? Is it listening to music? Being in nature? Do you charge in the company of other people, or do you need solitude to really replenish your energy? Think it all through and find your own personal truth in this regard. There are, of course, some things that are more universal in nature and tend to apply to most of us. Like our diet, for instance. Food and drink is a big deal. We must pay attention to food and what it does to our energy levels. If you eat loads of pizza, you'll probably feel bad. So take note that this is not a good source of energy. If you eat a salad, chances are you'll feel better. So eat whatever you want, but just be aware of what different foods do to your body. There are plenty of food sources out there that work as fuel instead of sucking all the energy out of your body. Sleep is kind of obvious, but also a major one. You probably need more than you think, and your routines around sleep are likely to be less than ideal, like spending hours staring at a screen just before sleep. Do research on how to set yourself up for the best sleep, and again, find out what your specific needs are. Relationships are another major factor in whether we charge or drain our batteries. I spoke about the importance of diet before, but diet doesn't only concern food and drinks. Everything we consume and surround ourselves with has an impact on us energetically. The music we listen to, the films we choose, the video games we play. Are they dark and full of violence, or uplifting and full of love? The people we surround ourselves with have the same impact. When you've hung out with a friend, notice if that drained you or if that lifted you up. Are you seeing friends who are stuck in a loop of old stories where they're convinced that the world is conspiring against them? Someone that might be complaining all the time, creating a heavy energy to be in. Does it really serve any of you to let that old story be played out again and again? At least just be aware that you are absorbing all this energy like a sponge. So this doesn't mean you shouldn't hold space for someone in need. It just means that we need to be aware of when we're doing that and when we're actually feeding their story of being a victim. Sometimes the loving thing to do is actually to snap them out of it and remind them that we create our own reality. Because doing the opposite, pleasing people by giving them what they think they want, actually makes you surrender your own boundaries and deplete your energy. Be honest and set boundaries around the people in your life. You might even let them know that you're not responsible for their experiences. This can be hard the first couple of times, but trust that the people who really love you, they will understand. Helping and supporting a friend from a place of compassion and a full cup shouldn't deplete your energy. That's a beautiful energy exchange, and it actually gives you energy. So knowing the difference between these two states is vital. In romantic relationships, most people have the idea that their partner needs to complete them and thereby make them happy. This will, for sure, in the long term, lead to misery and drain you completely. Your partner cannot and should not fill your cup. Only you can do that. So in all relationships, protect your energy, and to the extent that it's possible for you, only feed your system with what lifts you up. This seems particularly important when it comes to social media. Really pay attention to what your body and your mind feels like when you're on social media. Are you looking at stuff that makes you sad or mad or make you feel bad about yourself? Are you into discussions and addicted to all the drama around it? Ask yourself why you're doing it. What does it really give you? And be honest with yourself. Obviously, social media can have a positive impact, but for most people, this is not the case. Find out what your truth is, and again, write it all down. Obviously, there are many more areas of your life you can apply this exercise to, and I encourage you to do it as broadly as possible. These exercises will, in time, give you a lot more awareness around what your intentions are behind your actions. And having this new clarity makes it much easier for you to pause before you act out of old habits that don't serve you anymore. Take a breath before you say yes to that lunch invitation and ask yourself this question: what would I do if I loved myself? Chances are that now you know.